Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un held a rare meeting in Russia. On the same day, Pyongyang reportedly fired unidentified ballistic missiles toward East Sea. Sela Yun reports.
Putin and Kim held a rare meeting in Russia as South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff and Japan confirmed that North Korea fired unidentified ballistic missiles toward the East Sea or the Sea of Japan. The two leaders met each other and pledged his country North Korea's support for Russia in its standoff with the United States and its allies. Kim also made a rare visit to meet Putin at the space facility at the far eastern Amur region of Russia. According to Kim, quote, Russia has risen for a sacred fight to protect its national sovereignty and safety against hegemonic forces. We will always stand together against imperialism, end of quote. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov later told journalists that negotiations between the Russian and North Korean delegations followed the remarks by Putin and Kim lasted approximately an hour. The two leaders then had a one-to-one meeting. The United States had already warned Kim ahead of his state visit not to sell weapons to Russia. Meanwhile, neither Russia nor North Korea has expressed any intention of engaging such arrangement. To recall, Kim arrived at the Primorsky Krai of Russia on Tuesday morning, reportedly using an armored train that has carried the Kim family for decades. Kim arrived along with the General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and the President of State Affairs of the Democratic Republic of Korea or DPRK. Alexander Kozlov, the Minister of Natural Resources and Ecology of Russia, and Primorsky Krai Governor Oleg Kozhemyaka welcomed and greeted them at a local train station. Governor Kozhemyaka said he was looking forward to more cooperation between Primorsky Krai and DPRK.
Мы 4 года назад встречались здесь же с председателем государственных дел, товарищем Ким Чен Ыном, и мы проговорили о том, что, конечно, уже мы ожидаем в этом году открытия совместных проектов, связанных с развитием туризма, развитием сельского хозяйства. То есть, безусловно, это вопросы, связанные, в общем-то, и со строительством. Поэтому, конечно, сейчас комиссии будут прорабатывать эти механизмы, но мы надеемся, что здравоохранение.
It has been 4 years since his first meeting with Kim Jong-un and the President of State Affairs of the DPRK at the same location. Therefore, on Kim's second visit, the governor expects the launch of joint projects for further development of tourism and agriculture with the DPRK.
Того, что эти контакты будут продолжены на уровне не только глав государств, но на уровне рабочих групп, на уровне различных комиссий, но и самое главное, на уровне тех деловых и экономических связей, которые и дружественных, которые всегда связывали наши страны. Мы к этому готовы, предложили несколько вариантов сотрудничества. Я думаю, что мы эту работу продолжим, и по мере возможности, конечно, обменяемся визитами, в том числе и в Корею со стороны приморской делегации, как только будут уже сняты окончательные ограничения по системе здравоохранения Кореи.
The governor hopes Kim's visit to Russia will be a sign of the extension of commercial and economic relations between the two countries. Now that the DPRK health authorities have lifted their control measures, he proposed several programs through bilateral visits, including a delegation from the Primorsky Krai to the DPRK. Seoul Isubugo Sela Yun Imnida News, South Korea.
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy raised concerns over the possible consequence of Kim Jong-un and President Putin's meeting in Russia. Hannah Jane Sancho files this report.
Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ sees North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's visit to President Vladimir Putin as a dangerous step. In his program Give Us This Day on Wednesday, Pastor Apollo revealed that this could potentially be the catalyst for the start of the Third World War. This comes in light of reports suggesting that the primary reason for Kim's visit to Russia may be related to concerns over potential supply of weapons, which has raised alarms among Western nations.
So, may mga reaksyon yan eh. Kung anong ginagawa ng isang kalaban mo, kung maaari mong gawin, gagawin mo rin. So ngayon, nagtutulungan na sila. Papunta na ito sa tinatawag na World War III. Malaking tribulation ito. Ito yung magiging mitsa. Kung hindi ito mapigilan, ito magiging mitsa ng Third World War.
According to Pastor Apollo, it is relatively easy to transport these weapons, especially if Russia requests it, as North Korea is connected to mainland China, and they could route them through there to reach Russia.
Pumupunta si Kim Jong-un sa North Korea because North Korea na connected yan sa mainland China. Through China, papunta na ng Russia yan, boundary lang eh. Nagte-train lang yan. So kung mag-supply ng armas yan, hindi na mag-aeroplano, by train na lang. Underground pa. Hindi wala nang hinto. Naku, matindi to. Di ba? Si Kim Jong-un pa naman, palaban masyado.
According to the good pastor, in order to halt the escalation of the situation, it is necessary to cease the supply of war weapons on both sides, especially in Ukraine, which has long been receiving arms from Western nations. He said it is also possible that not only North Korea, but also Iran and other countries allied with Russia will assist in supplying weapons to Moscow.
So, mga malalakas na armas na ito ginagamit ngayon eh. At hindi pa nagkakaubusan. Marami ng mga sundalo na mamatay both sides by the hundreds of thousands na. Ngayon, kung di pa mapipigilan yan, gagawa rin ng paraan yung kabila, tulad ng Russia, na bawat 5 segundo ata, nagpapaputok na sila ng mga missile sa kanilang multiple rocket launchers sa Ukraine. Tinitira ngayon yung Kiev na. Nagtitirahan na sila sa kanilang mga capital cities. Ako, delikado to. Kaya, to avert this, kailangan maghinto na yung pagsusupply ng mga armas. Mag-usap na. So, matatandaan na una nang nagsupply ang mga kanlurang bansa, Estados Unidos at mga pinagsama-samang bansa sa Europa, ng mga armas pandigma sa Ukraine sa simula pa lamang ng military intervention ng Russia sa Ukraine. Sa pag-aakalang kung sila ay magtutulungan, magagapi nila ang Russia. Na-underestimate mo yung kalaban. Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa naubos ang missile nila. Meron namang isang magsusupply. Sino pa yung iba? Baka may Iran pa diyan. Baka may iba pang mga bansang katuwang ng Russia.
It should be noted that the conflict between Russia and Ukraine originally stemmed from Ukraine's failure to comply with the Minsk Agreement and its alleged mistreatment and discrimination against Russian-speaking people in the Donbas region, which is part of Ukraine that Russia annexed in September last year. In the end, Pastor Apollo stated that because both sides refused to back down, it is possible that there will be no clear winner, and the outcome of the conflict could lead to mutually assured destruction. The most frightening scenario would be if these countries were to resort to using nuclear missiles, potentially resulting in the world's devastation and humanity's extinction. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SMNI News.
Senator Robin Padilla is calling for the withdrawal of the U.S. Navy's presence in the West Philippine Sea. According to him, their military presence may be perceived as overly aggressive by China, which has its Coast Guard patrolling the disputed territory. Kai Villan reports.
Sir, sagutin niyo po. Simple lang naman po yung tanong ko, Chairman.
Mr.
Inaamin po ba natin na hindi natin kaya? Kailangan natin ng US Navy doon, paikot-ikot.
Senator Robin Padilla expressed concern over the presence of the U.S. Navy patrolling the West Philippine Sea. Amid escalating tensions between the Philippines and China, Senator Robin Padilla has raised questions about the presence of a U.S. Navy aircraft patrolling the contested territory in the West Philippine Sea. During a Senate hearing in the National Defense Budget, the agency admitted to the presence of Poseidon aircraft from the U.S. Navy. Padilla argued that it would be appropriate to match the Philippine Coast Guard with China's Coast Guard, which also patrols the West Philippine Sea. However, he emphasized that military force should only be deployed during the times of war. The senator warned the tensions between the two countries could worsen if an armed U.S. Navy presence were to confront the Chinese Coast Guard, which is a civilian agency.
Buong mundo may Coast Guard. Okay? Sila ang nagpupulis ng dagat. Ang armed forces, andyan yan paggera na. Huwag natin ibahin kasi na tayo ang hirap naman natin na para naman tayong yan hindi naman kayo ang re-respond. Nangyari na po yan sa Scarborough Show sa panahon ng administrasyon dati. Alam naman po natin yung nangyari dyan. Nung naglabas kayo ng gray ship, naglabas na rin ng gray ship ang China, kaya nga nagkaroon ng standoff dyan
To recall, in recent days, a successful resupply mission was conducted for the BRP Sierra Madre, stationed in the West Philippine Sea. The U.S. presence was there at the time, but Department of National Defense Undersecretary Ignacio Madriaga emphasized that the country has the capacity to carry out resupply missions without the assistance of the United States.
Yung presensya po ng Amerikano doon is tulong lang po yun sa maritime domain awareness at parang may eye in the sky na nanonood ng buong pangyayari. Sir, wala po tayong inaamin at hindi po tayo aamin na hindi natin kaya ang trabaho. Medyo kaya may Amerikano o sinong ibang bansa po, kaya po ng Philippine Navy, kaya ng Philippine Coast Guard po yan. Hindi po tayo susuko dyan.
Senator Padilla's concerns are supported by Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa. Senator Bato insisted that the patrol operations conducted by the Philippines, including the U.S. Navy in the West Philippine Sea, should not be given any other interpretation that could be seen as aggressive by China.
Alam natin, it is a universally accepted concept na yung Coast Guard talaga is not part of the military. Kasi mahirap kung magbigay tayo ng gray area for them to misinterpret, overinterpret, or underinterpret. Baka mamaya, diyan magsimula yung problema natin.
Kaya ang gusto ko lamang pong idiin, okay, kaibigan natin ng nandyan sila, maraming salamat, pero wag naman po tayo ibala.
In the end, Senator Padilla called for an increased budget for the Coast Guard to reduce its dependence on foreign assistance. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, Kay Villan, SMNI News.